Red, green, or blue. We got all kinds of colors in the CM Cosman live stream. Hello, everybody. It's been a long summer. And here we are on the night of the 31st of August, 2025. If you are watching in the replay, I want to show you this color, green. You know what that's the color of? Money. And if you like this live stream, if you like what I've been doing online and offline, maybe it's time you put your heart where your ears and eyes are and donate to me a little on Patreon and maybe get something from the gift shop. The links are below. And as my good friend YouTube Joseph says, yes, green is also the color of vegetation. Yes. Hope you've been doing all right. This is your host, CM Cosman, speaking from the glittering realm of colors and, well, stuff. I hope you've had a nice summer. 13 people watching, not bad. Not a bad turnout at all. MGO says, hey. Spiritual Ziya, whose name in Turkish means spiritual lesbian, Ziya, says, glad it's over. Talking about the summer. Yeah. 420, blaze it. Joseph, you were just a kid when you started commenting on this channel. Now you're cracking weed jokes. Oi, way. Popular says, oh my God, the Vienna Natural History Museum. Yes, that's where the t-shirt is from. Lovely gift. How are you doing, everybody? Somersaurus says, I can't wait to freeze in winter. Look, I always styled myself as a summer guy, okay? I used to think, oh, the heat is fine, the heat, I could take it. But yeah, the past 3 years, it's horrible. The heat is just unbearable, the moisture. My brain pan heats up. Maybe I'm getting older, or maybe the summers really are getting warmer. But yeah, I just can't deal with the heat in the summers. And I don't have air conditioning at home. So yeah. Ian says, I was just reading Last and First Man. That's a great book. 815 says, in the winter, scarves do look nice on you. Yes, they look cozy and snug. Orestes says, what's up? All is well. Calliope Crane says, smiley, cuddly face. Ferial says, Abi, you in a hotel. My location is one of the most closely guarded secrets of the universe. But no, I'm not broadcasting from a hotel. Let's get the color shifting with the fancy. Yeah, it's blue now. Wow. I just love this fucking thing so much. I've gotten this a few weeks ago, and I'm the biggest fan now. I mean, like, sometimes I just flip this on. Just watch the colors. Lakers 44 says, I got to know you through Mert Günhan, and it's a really good thing. Thank you. And Mert Günhan is a Turkish streamer who dabbles in science fiction, fantasy, gamer culture, geek culture, and associated matters. And him and I have a really nice podcast together in the Turkish language. Always a nice friend to talk to. Blanker Hans says gamer Kozeman, referring to this color change here. Here. Yeah, it's halfway along the spectrum, pun intended. Not quite gamer, but not quite bisexual either. So make of this what you will. Okay, why don't you watch the goddamn light? Just watch it, okay? Just watch the light while I go make myself some tea. 5 minutes in and 21 people watching. So watch the goddamn light shift colors. Now it's blue. Now it's red. Now it's green. Going on to cyan. Now let's see what's going to change into blue again. No shortage of surprises with this shit. Oh my god. Yeah, you watch this while I get myself some well deserved late night end of summer tea. And tell me your favorite color, okay? And I will officially start the stream in a bit. Okay. Oh, yes, it is on. and we are going, well, we're officially starting this show now. Welcome, everybody, once again to the live stream. All right, a lot of comments already, and I'm blessed to have you guys. Why isn't this mouse working? Sorry, my mouse is spazzing out. That's bizarre. I'll use the touchpad. Anyways, hope you're doing well. Lots of comments about the glowing goddamn lamp. But yeah, that is that. MGO says summer is a pain if you are a hairy guy. I will read all tomorrow's and podcast with Mert Günhan, says Lakers 45. About the lamp's favorite color, Spiritual Lesia says cerulean blue. The berries of the holy plant color. Dan McAleer says hello. I like the paintings about window. Are these your work? Says Dan McAleer. Well, this is actually a poster of. This is a paleo art poster from 1986, and my late grandfather got it to me when he visited Los Angeles back back then, and it's one of my most valuable possessions. This is a shed snakeskin I found, and this is my painting. It survived a big fire, and now they're among my prized possessions. Also here, this is a print by Gert van Dijk, whose book Furaha, a book about speculative evolution, is almost out. So congratulations, sir. And yes, how are you, everybody? How is everything with you? I hope the summer treated you kindly, and I hope you're feeling energized, rested, hale, ready to get back to school. Or, well, if you're working, summer holidays are not really a thing, but yeah. So we got the cucumber, we got the soda, we got the tea, and 22 people watching. Let us start by knowing where everybody is from. Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Eplurakas Orega says that the gaudy lights make homes colorful and cool again. So thank you. Answers are coming in. Emin Özdeş says, hello from Antalya. Nice evening. Hello to you too. Absent fish is from Helgoland, the island of the thousand moats. Is it Helgoland or Heligoland? Because Heligoland was a whole other place, but yeah, maybe it's just Helgoland. Let me look it up, actually. No, actually, you're from Heligoland. It was once a British colony, but then it was handed over to Germany. We've got a weird history, that part of the world. Heligoland. Joseph is from Long Island, New York. Dan McAleer from Scotland. He is the number 2 top commenter on this channel, by the way. Gnome's Child is from upstate New York. Absent Fish clarifies, yes, I am from Heligoland, but most people now spell it Helgoland. Okay. I guess that works. I just was asked by an art collector wishing to purchase my art, to show all the recent paintings I've done, and maybe I can bring those out for you for some show and tell. Blaker Hans says Helgoland got traded for Zanzibar. Yeah, but got taken by the Brits after World War One. Yes, there's actually a great video about it by this amazing YouTuber. Wait. So this was a channel called The History Chap. And obviously we're not gonna watch it now, but this channel is really good actually. Wait, let me just look it up. Okay, so this channel, the History Chap channel, is a really good and based channel, and it is just lovely. He's just a great storyteller, and he doesn't mix history with politics, and he finds and tells all these forgotten obscure stories, mostly from British history, also from the history of the Second World War. So yeah, go listen, go subscribe actually. Not that he needs my recommendations to 25 people, because he's got a huge channel, but yeah, one of my favorite. Like, we all have this YouTube routine, and like in the morning, this is my breakfast jam, like a solid history video by this guy, and it's more preferable. It's better to watch than like YouTuber drama pap or stuff like that. Unknown says hello. Well, hello, my good friend. All right. Okay, let me show you my sheaf of recent paintings. We don't have much else to do tonight. Oh. Okay, so all right, hearts coming in, comments coming in. B asks, what do you mean the History Chap is a great channel by not mixing in politics? Does he focus on a timeline of events rather than the interpretation? He's just a good storyteller. Just go watch him. By not mixing politics in, I mean he's not like a deranged racist like Zoomer historian or like a bunch of historians. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So yes, I was recently asked by a fan from Australia, like if I have any recent paintings, and I bought out the whole bundle. And here, let me show you some. When I'm not writing or doing my day job or doing commissions or doing paleo art or just getting myself busy with the errands of the day, yeah, I'm busy. I busy myself with surreal art like these, and you may have seen these elsewhere. If you follow me on Patreon, actually, you see a lot of these. But yeah, so this is one. This is another. This actually was on sale at DinoCon. I really like this one. Pity no one got it. It's a landscape abstraction after the fashion of Graham Sutherland, who we talked about before on these podcasts. Blake Richardson says, I had a chest and back day at the gym. I'm late. Hope I didn't miss much. No, no, we're just getting started. Fernando Katekaik says, what is your opinion on humanity fuck yeah kinds of stories? Well, my friend, I actually have a huge YouTube video about this. I'm not going to play it now, but just going to show you a screenshot so you can all find and listen. Where is it? It was called, wait, I have so many videos. Okay, here it is. Dissecting a pesky trend in sci-fi fandom. Humanity, fuck yeah. So yeah, this video is half an hour's long, and it's just me talking about the humanity fuck yeah type of stories. To summarize it really rapidly, I think I identified, I don't even remember what I said, but I identified three main types of stories. One was the Avatar rooting for Colonel Quaritch type of trope. The other was Warhammer. And yet a third one was, I think, just Starship Troopers. So my opinions on each. And yeah, go watch it. What was the book you mentioned earlier? Where can I find it? Oh, it's this book. Wait. It is by where is it? Sorry, I'm a little slow tonight. You just have to live with it. So it's by Gert van Dijk, and it's one of the longest running Spec Evo projects on the internet. And it's this page actually. We can navigate it together now. Can you actually see the screen now? Let's confirm that you can see the screen. And I will just navigate the website with you. Hearing your Turkish accent slipping out is so funny, says Unknown. As a Turkish person, this happens to me too. Yes, I'm actually very proud of my edgy, weird accent. I never tried to make it sound more British or American. Like when you live in those countries, it happens automatically. When you don't live in those countries and just read in English, this is what you get. I've always been proud of my solid gold Asia Minor accent, and I've met a lot of people who like paid like $100 per hour for accent coaches and stuff. Yet when you sat down with them, they couldn't string two words together. This is, I think, very superficial. And I also think that English speakers respect you more. So yeah, let's dive into Furaha, Natural History of the Planet V Ponisis IF. So there's actually an interview with me now, but yeah, I will spare you that one. But it's a really nicely made, really nicely illustrated website detailing a lot of animals, plants, and astronomical features. And these are some of the creatures you see. The planet has hexapodal creatures, and this is one called the marble bill. It's like a jumping spider, gibbon, parrot type of creature with four legs and two very long legs. And it's just like, in terms of art and world building, it's just a very beautiful, very well put together project. And this is how the creator puts it together. They are first designed as 3D sculptures, then painted over, and there's a distribution of its, well, a map of its distribution. There are these things which are called rusps, and they are like giant caterpillars that live on the land, a bit like grazing ankylosaur slash battleships. And this is an excerpt from how the artist designs their biomechanics. And the creator of Furaha is actually one of the most solid biomecanicists out there. So yeah, go look this up. And this is like an excerpt from the internet as it used to be. There are no Instagram pages, no Twitters, no YouTube pages, but it's just a self-contained website. And I really like web pages and projects like this. What website, asks YouTube Joseph? Just Google Furaha Alien Life. It is so old, I love it, says unknown. Yes, it's actually, this was in like the late 1990s and the early 2000s. One of the first websites that got me started, involved with speculative evolution. And I took my socks off because it's just so hot. And it was actually my first exchange with somebody about, well, alien life. And I think in one of these pages, I think Mr. Van Dijk still chronicles my email exchange with them. Let's see if we can find it. Maybe it's gotten replaced, but there were these organisms which live under the water, okay? I don't think they're on this version of the web page now, or maybe I'm missing them. But there are these like underwater amphora creatures, which kind of look like this, a bottle. And when people swim near them, these things just go like, start changing shape. So in the website, in the early 2000s, Mr. Van Dijk says, nobody knows why these animals change their shape like that. So I actually emailed him and wrote my theory. I said, maybe these guys change shape because they are trying to avoid predators that use sonar. So their shape gets all thrown off and they can't register. And more than 20 years ago now, Mr. Van Dijk actually ended up naming the amphora creature after me. So it was like Amphora Kosemeni or something. And it was like a life-changing moment for me, because here was somebody I could interact with who was a master of this really niche art form. And my interaction was a positive one, and it ended up contributing to the project. So I was like above the clouds, I was so happy. And it directly led me to the direction which led me to where I am now. Bakara says, have you seen Phtanum B by Steve Mopcannon? Yes, I've seen that too. Berat Guitar says hello. Berat Guitar says, my favorite autist is online. Well, that word gets thrown around a lot, doesn't it? Autist. Anybody with a niche interest is an autist. Heck, in fact, any man now almost, if they're not into cars, girls, football, or fighting about religion, a man is automatically labeled an autist. I've actually known like actual kids with autism, and it's it is a spectrum. I get it, but I mean, there are kids who never do eye contact, and they're not smart or focused either. They don't talk to anybody. They have no social. It's not even social skills. They can't survive. I think that's like the most serious form of autism, and I think it's that for that reason it's a term I don't throw around lightly. Then there are people who are like introverted and have trouble socializing. That's another story. Then there are people who just have niche interests, and that's a whole other story. But yeah, those are not autists like the way real autists are autists. And I, there is a form of autism which is an actual like mental disorder, okay? And it really messes people up. It really ruins families. I'm in a blue light mood now. I'm not feeling the blues, but yeah, I want the light to be blue, and I don't want it to cycle like some goddamn OnlyFans podcast. So yeah, full blown diagnosed autism is a serious matter. These kids, after their parents pass away, they won't be able to survive without assistance. So their parents' entire lives are ruined, and they live like this is a bit of a serious thing to go into now, but like the parents have this like dark mood that never leaves them because always in their mind is like, what is this kid going to do after I'm old? What am I going to do in the future? I can't afford a house for myself barely. What is the kid going to do? So it's a serious matter. B says, I feel like the phrase autism will evolve into something like retard and will eventually be replaced with a new term and itself become a slur. I agree. I agree. There's a term for introverts who see through the convoluted bullshit of social life and mainstream life. The term for these people is an eccentric. You're just a noble, full blown, got nothing to hide, honest to God eccentric. Berat Guitar, you said these creatures live underwater. Well, you just go to the Furaha website. I'm going to copy and paste the website so everybody can visit, okay? I'm promoting my mentor and good friend, Mr. Gert van Dijk's website now. Here is the URL, okay? Are you ready? Hope not this one. Sorry, the heat has gotten me booming up. I hope I don't share my tax folder like Vosh did, that streamer. Okay, so here is the website, planetfuraha.nl. Go copy this, or I don't know, you can't copy it, but screenshot this and visit it. It's like a little book you can read online. It's wonderful. Blake Richardson says, I didn't do eye contact when I was a kid, and people assumed I had autism. It was stupid. Yes, when I was growing up, I was very similar. I was very introverted. I didn't do eye contact, but it was because I choose not to care because I was too focused on the things I cared about. And well, what can I say? Oh, here is the website in the chat, by the way. Yeah. What can I say? I mean, it was a social choice. Then, okay, this was a rarity. I came around full circle and I developed this ability to actually be social, but turn it on and off like a goddamn lamp. Boom, 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 boom. So that's that. To be honest, Orestes says, I was the same, but it was just because no one told me about it. Yes. I think many people were like this. I think it's connected with media more than medicine or adolescence or physiological factors. I think if you're exposed to a niche sort of media, which you are really enthusiastic about, and this was like a story as old as time. In the 1970s, you had train spotters and anoraks, and people interested in planes and even sci-fi and stuff. This was just so. If you are somebody who's too devoted to a niche interest, you just have this thing, and it's, I think, perfectly normal. I don't think it's a disease. B says, this stuff is so weird. I used to talk to a friend. Neither of us did eye contact. And then some random person would come up and told us to look each other in the eyes when we were talking. What was their problem? I think they were worried. They were scared, but it's a stupid thing to be worried about. But then I realized eye contact has its own power and its own curse. Like where I am now, for example, I remember I was an adolescent, and I was like a big-eyed kid with curly hair. And one day in high school, I was asking somebody a couple, a boy and a girl from like a higher grade, okay? And I was talking to the girl, and I did eye contact with the girl, and I noticed that the boyfriend was visibly like angry and not even jealous, just angry that another man was, well, I was just a pesky kid, but another male organism was doing eye contact with his girlfriend. And then I realized, oh my God, in this society, in Turkish society, it is still a rule I follow and advise to people. If you're talking to people on a subway, if there's a couple, always do eye contact with the man and never the lady. It's fucked up, it's sexist, but it's the way things are wired in this part of the world. Also, sometimes women just feel put off or scared when you come out of nowhere and talk to them like this. The eyes are like a weapon. It's like, I think it even happens in animals. I remember talking to Darren Nash, and he told me that seabirds, when there's like, I don't know, 1,000 seagulls on a beach or something, the seagulls never establish eye contact with each other. They just look up at the ground or somewhere. But even animals, when they stare at each other's eyes, it's either to fight or to feed or to do the other F word. So yeah. Now I understand why people get uncomfortable when I stare at their souls, says Blake Richardson. Yeah, don't do it, man. Not worth it. Let's get the light back to white mode. Look, this lamp is fucking amazing. Perfect neutral white light. I love it. Bakara says, just be like Shinji Ikari from Neon Genesis Evangelion and look down all the time. Oh my God, my socks are here. Well, I had to take them off because it was too hot. Did you do this? When I was younger, I used to spin two socks around and pretend I was a Messerschmitt Bf 110 Zerstörer aircraft, the twin-engine fighter destroyer from the Second World War. Then I realized that was a Nazi aircraft, but have no fear, I realized I could be a British RAF Mosquito instead. Bzzz. So yeah, fly about that way. I don't know, if you did this, you're one of the real ones. Clearly a sentence, says Pepular. Yes. Hello there, General Grievous. Yes. Yes. Okay, we made enough a fool of ourselves, so I'm gonna just throw these goddamn socks away. There's something about it that just feels right. Yes, I agree. We're in like full autism hours now. There's no escaping or denying it. But there's some more paintings from my pile. This was a nice one. Charcoals and watercolor. Let me know if something pikes your interest. By the way, if you're watching this on the replay and you want to buy these, just get in touch with me. Write a comment and I'll tell you how to establish further contact, okay? Because we all need money these days, and for your money I'd like to give something back. So why not paintings? Slam! This is a good one. It's a spirit like an owl. It's like an owl, but its body is something else. And there are other minor spirits in the background too. Lord Grunwalder says, imagine eye contact in a culture with laser eye aliens. Literal loaded gun treatment. Well, that is actually the premise of a science fiction book. Maybe you read the same book, so that's why you're quoting from. But the book is called Sundiver. And here is the cover. Oh, wait, this is a small image. Wait. It is by David Brin, one of the great sci-fi authors. So this is the cover, Sundiver. Well, this is an excerpt from the cover, and this is the laser eye alien. So this alien is called Pring, and he has enormous eyes. His ancestors had one single eye, but then their race was genetically modified and it was uplifted. But now these are a scheming species. So turns out there's an expedition to the center of the sun, okay? Don't ask me how it works. Let me get you a bigger version of the cover. Wait. Okay, wait. I'm just trying to find you a nicer version of this cover image because it relates to the story and it relates to what Lord Grunwalder said. There we go. Okay, so this goes, close that. So yeah, this is Sundiver. 815 says, that is you, referring to the character. I rather fancy myself as somebody like this guy. But the artist is, by the way, an incredible artist. His name is Jim Burns. I got lots of his books, but they're out of reach at the moment. So yeah, story is this ship goes to the bottom of the sun. It is shielded by some magic plasma, okay? This alien is on board with a bunch of other characters. And the ship is essentially covered with screens because you can't get portholes. And on the portholes, they see these green jellyfish-like aliens, which act like they're a sapient species that are living in the center of the sun. Later on in the book, it turns out that these green UFO aliens are an illusion. They are created by this nefarious character, Kulla. And what I like about this artist, Jim Burns, is that there are all these little details, like he has 6 fingers, for example, and all these like little blebs near his eyes makes it look so much more believable. So anyways, this alien has built-in BioLight laser projectors in his eyes. So he can create these holograms and trick people when they're looking at the view screen. He can also use these biolights to focus a laser beam and, well, melt people's faces off and kill them. And so there's they realize his trick, and there's a big fight scene at the end. I won't spoil it, but yes, Sundiver is a really, really good book by David Brin. I really recommend this. So it's just like what Lord Grunwalder said. An alien with laser eyes. Unknown says, I need a poster of this immediately, lol. Well, you can just look it up, download it, print it, frame it, can be yours. So anyways, that's that. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I have almost crashed this stream. 42 people watching, thank you so much. I almost crashed this fucking stream because you see this. There's a button at the very bottom that the little arrow is for the share screen thing, okay? And when you want to stop sharing it, you need to click that. It's dangerously next to the end stream button. So if you accidentally press the wrong button, boom, the whole stream is gone. Triops says, what you using for the stream? I'm just streaming through YouTube. I have OBS too, but because I'm a fucking chud, I can't connect OBS to YouTube on my computer. I can't do it. I just don't know how. If somebody points me to a tutorial, I'd be in your debt, but yeah, them is the works. I also can't get my mouse to work properly, so I'm gonna try to arrange that. Okay, now it works. Good. Elite ball knowledge, says Bakara. Could marsupials and egg-laying mammals one day become the dominant species? I mean, figures that throughout mammal evolution, there was probably one point where they were the dominant mammals before placentals truly evolved. B says, the design of these streaming programs are malicious. When I was a kid, it made me stream Yu-Gi-Oh to the living room while there were guests. Well, I'm glad it was Yu-Gi-Oh and not something else. Oh, huh? How about that? Tukanol says, will you print all tomorrows? Fingers crossed. Lexus Galavan says, are they triops in Turkey? As far as I know, they live in Central Asia, but let's look it up. Let's first tell people what triops are, okay? They are these strange aquatic crustaceans. Oh, goddamn, don't do this to me. Sorry. They are these strange and cool aquatic crustaceans that kind of look like this. Okay. They look really prehistoric and they come from an ancient lineage. Cousins to your isopods. Well, distant cousins. So they live in certain lakes in Central Asia and they can endure desiccation for years. Let's look at Triops range, actually. Triops longicaudatus. Okay, so one species apparently does live in. It is the species that lives in Turkey is Triops canceriformis. What do you know? It does live here. Well, I'll show you. We are now connecting to a page from the official Turkish Ministry of Forestry and Agriculture. Some brilliant government official has titled this. If you look at the top left corner, it's titled Sune, which is the name of an agricultural pest. So the file in the government office has been titled Sune, which has no relation to Triops. But yeah, it says this is like top tier government teas. The adults generally have an aspect of a white shield. The adults are colored olive gray. Okay. Senede bir veya daha fazla döl verebilir, which is it's a funny way to say that it can deliver semen once or more per year. This is like wordless government official lingo. Somebody's getting paid a living wage and life insurance to type this up. Nothing else. Lucky person. Let's see what it tells. They say it's a pest on an agricultural plant known as chaltic. Of course, they don't type scientific name. Yeah, it's a kind of pest on rice. Okay. I didn't know that. So yeah, they come in rice, make more baby triops, and damage the rice. Mature larvae become pests as they eat leaves and shoots in spring. When density reaches 3-4 larvae per square meter, it can lead to bald patches in the rice field. But they also, the way this is written, it is very, anyways, they also prey on mosquito larvae and eggs in the rice fields. Plants damaged by its activity. Its main host is rice, adult triops from below. Okay. Look, this is like the eternal Turkish conundrum. It's easy to make fun of these government ministries and their weird ways of writing, but at least there's a functioning government. Now, the alternative to this is not some Western country like, well, the Scandinavian countries or the US or the UK. The alternative to this is state collapse. And at the end of the day, I'm always thankful that, there's a government. I think I read this in a book written by Turkey through the eyes of American diplomats. And a guy says, you may argue about the quality of the final product, but the Turks know how to run a state, and it is what it is. Okay. So we do have triops in Turkey. This has led us down this rabbit hole. Berat Gitar says rice, which we add. Okay. Yeah, there's a rural tradition, rural now, but when a boy gets circumcised, the little bit that gets cut out gets mixed with a big bowl of rice, and everybody eats that rice. It's kind of gross. I love my funny Turkish C, says Blankerhans. Thank you. Lexus Galavan says, yes, botany, pilav, entomology. Yes, yes, yes. Meshuger Nebuchadnezzar says, he's just like me for real. Talking about triops. The thing with the rice and the snip bit is I've never seen it, but I've heard it being spoken about. So make of this what you will. Real Triops hours. Yes, this is the joy of this channel. From Triops to verboten rice in just a couple of connections. Unknown says, what is your favorite bug? Mine is centipede. Technically, centipedes are not bugs, but I know what you mean. I think my favorite bugs are flies, to be honest. Flies, there's thousands of species, and they're all very cool. Incredibly cool creatures. Anyways, let's keep looking at the paintings. Here's one which I call Thunder Gods, and purely improvised, but it does look like some sort of Hittite sculpture, a cubist take on Hittite art. Gviezdianai Fury says, I really like violet darkling beetles. Bakara says, why flies? They're just wonderful. I like the flies whose head resembles a pilot's helmet. Oh, you mean, I think these ones, right? Pipunculidae, big-headed flies. There's like cases where some guy caught a fly in Australia once, okay? And they argued for 35, 40 years about what family it was. And they couldn't really determine. But yeah, there are crazy flies. I mean, you would think maybe this is done by AI, but it's actually a real photograph. These are flies from the family Pipunculidae, making more flies from the family Pipunculidae. As you can see, their head is an entire hemisphere. I think in some species there are even no mouth parts, and they just exist to fly around, look around like little drones with full 360 coverage, find other flies like them, and do this. Boy, why are your eyes so big? Damn. Yeah. This is a not safe for work. I mean, look, I used to be far more edgier about this stuff. It is a picture of the flies mating, but as you notice, I don't try to make any. I try not to make any dirty jokes about this. You know, it's just nature doing nature. But one of the cool things about these guys, with all flies actually, is that they got these things called halter organs. And these are actually rudimentary wings, and they actually work like gyroscopes. They go and like they make sure the fly stays upright. And one of the nice details I like is that even though this head has become entirely eyes, there's still like the pale gray marking on the cheek, and it's the same color you see on on other kinds of flies with regular sized eyes. There's a species like this in the Natural History of Skull Island, the book The Flies Just Mate and Die. You'd be surprised how common that is in nature, actually. Their little antennae, I'm choking, says, yeah, yeah. An entire optical system for a head. But then flies can also be like, I mean, there are extreme predatory flies too, called Acilidae, robber flies. I'm just trying to find you a nice picture. Okay, this one will work. Just trying to find you a good picture, sorry. God damn, it doesn't work. Min-maxed, they say. Okay. Well, this is another type of fly called Acilidae. Well, you can only name them by families, but this is basically the fly lineage's answer to a dragonfly. And these guys aren't mating. The big fly is sucking the juices out of the small fly. Can you see it? Okay, you can see it. So yeah, these are like wicked, and it shows you the plasticity of evolution. Like the its prey is also a fly, but you can see flies have sucking mouth parts, but in these guys, it's shaped like a beak, and it's just wicked. And there is also let me look up for another family. I mean, there's also like literally hundreds of thousands of very dainty, beautiful, little known kinds of flies. I mean, and in them I see the subtle artistry of nature. I will show you. Not every fly has to be a freak or a terrible predator, but there's also lots of beautiful flies. I mean, this is a species known as Sciapus, a genus known as Sciapus. The family it belongs to is called Dolichopodidae, and there's just hundreds of thousands of, probably thousands of species of little beautiful flies. And look at their colors. The eyes are like green tinted with metallic orange. The body is the color of lemon and also honey. There's nothing ugly about it. It's just like these beautiful subtle stripes, the slight orange with the slight blue. Like if you if you do watercolors as an art form, painting these is so therapeutic, built like a Martian ship. Yes, very, very true. It looks like a mosquito with emeralds for eyes. If you like flies, I'm going to show you a nice book. I have a huge encyclopedia about flies. By Stephen Marshall. This is the kind of genius and hardworking American savant that only the US produces. He's got another book on beetles and another book of hymenopterans, that is to say, wasps, ants, and relatives. Of course, I got them all, but this is a huge encyclopedia showing every fly group and almost every fly genera in existence. And it's just full of these like tiny, subtle pictures, all these incredible like life stories, and the text is very readable too. It's not a dry textbook at all, and you really learn a lot. You really learn to appreciate nature. There's hairy flies. There's a lot of stuff. Why don't you look at the flies now while I go refresh my tea, and when I'm back we'll continue our conversation. Just trying to make sure it won't collapse, but I need to look like her, says Pepular. Gvizedinia Fury says, so jealous right now. Well, this book you can find on Amazon. It's not cheap, but then again, it costs less than like a nice date dinner, you know? So like if you save up, you can afford it. That's a huge book, says No Child. Yeah, I've heard that being said before. But look at these flies, they're incredible. Green-eyed flies, orange-eyed flies, striped flies, bee mimics, wasp mimics, bumblebee mimics. These are syrphid flies, hover flies. Norm's Child says, think how much it would cost you not to know about flies. Blake Richardson says, is it around the same place price? I think this goes for, well, go look it up on Amazon. I'm not going to quote prices, but it should not be unaffordable. It should be like the price of a nice um, summer vacation gift or a birthday present. You know, it's not unaffordable. If you're serious about this, if you're a real autist, then you can save up for it. I know everything costs a lot, so I understand it. But if you want like a gift of a lifetime, these books by Stephen Marshall, sorry, they're really good. So why don't you look at the goddamn flies, and I'll be right back. Oh my god, how's it been since? Oh my god, the flies have been replaced by bailo, 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 bay, and besakanta compalla, and the zukupeketa, angel gupelepenta, angel zukumpekentanta, abembembembemba. Yes, this is counterfeit Turkish Kit Kat Chunky. I'd kill for some chocolate right now, says Window Lizard. Berat Guitar says Migros, the supermarket brand, has done the advertising for its entire year for free. Have you seen the movie with Jeff Goldblum turning into a fly? Says Bakara. Yes, I have. It's called The Fly. It's a really nice movie. There's also the Fly 2 movie, which is interesting. Blake Richardson says Leilaya fly. It's the kind of fly with the Jacob's leather mouth parts. I will show it to you. But first, I'm going to show you a secret. You can do this with the Bilo. It's the Migros Bilo Jailhouse Rock Slam. Okay? You take this open, take out the Bilo, like so. Now you bite one end. So far, so good. Take it out. Bite the other end. Okay? I'm showing you how to do the Bilo Jailhouse Rock. So you get a tube covered with chocolate but with wafers in the middle. Now this is very important. What you're going to do now is going to dip it into milk or coffee and drink. Yeah, man, eat it. Oh, God. Go straight to the head. Fuck. Go straight to the fucking head. In Australia, they know this as the Tam Tam Slam. Because it's a real slam. You get the coffee filling up the body of the chocolate wafer, and then when you bite into it, the interior kind of melts and implodes in your mouth. Oh, God. One of the little jokes, like one of the little joys in life, kind of like a Kit Kat. It's a counterfeit Turkish version of Kit Kat. Is there fentanyl in his tea, says Blaker Hans. No. And no kratom either. I'm not what if autist. But I'm just trying to show you something interesting. In Australia, they also call this a Tim Tam Slam. And if you're an Australian and if you heard of the Tim Tam Slam before, let me know in the chat right now or in the comments when you're doing the replay. Which tea brand are you using? Oh, it was English breakfast. Slam my Tim Tam, says 8:15. You guys are an incorrigible lot. Kratom stuff melts your brain, says Gnome's Child. Yes. Look, don't do fucking drugs. I know a bunch of you all are into like Oxycontin or prescription medicine and shit. Don't do it. It rots your mind. Any of you don't take it personally, but it's a real danger. Berat Guitar says, I'm probably going to go study in Italy for my BA. Do you have any advice? What are you going to study, if I can ask you? I mean, before going, try to, this is going to sound silly, but I'm guessing you're Turkish. And in the Turkish setting, many young people, especially men, don't know how to take care of themselves. And maybe you're not that way. Don't take it personally, but know how to cook 3 meals: breakfast, dinner, lunch. Know how to do the washing. Get yourself disciplined about laundry, money discipline, cleaning the house, just doing the mop and the vacuum. These are all very important things that you must learn before living alone. And that's number one. Number two, you're going to Italy, you're going to a land of great food, but yeah, learn to cook too. because as a student, your budget might be limited. Okay, Berat Guitar says, I lived without my family for 1 year. So you probably know the basics, but like upskill on that. I think it comes down to just lifestyle and living conditions for many people. I don't know, try to make friends with the locals and try not to hang around with the Turks. Or if you're Finnish, try not to hang out with Finns all the time. Or if you're German, don't hang out with Germans all the time. Hang around with the locals or international people, because this is going to be the last time in your life when you will have so many social opportunities and so much time. So that's a good bet. Try to live somewhere that's close to school, even if it means paying a little extra. I can't stress enough, like running to classes with all this shit on your back or stuff. It's just such a hassle sometimes. And try to avoid alcohol and drug parties and hedonism. Of course, you're young, so you'll know how to strike the balance. Try to learn the language. That's, I think, crucial. Italian is not very hard to learn. Try to pick up some phrases. Blake Rahan says, don't go to South Italy. Well, actually, you would be surprised, but I lived in Italy for a number of years. I lived in Treviso in North Italy, near Milan. It's a wonderful place. The food was great. I don't know if you have personal dietary restrictions. I don't. I love pork, and it was supermarkets there are crazy. I love those things. Lexus Galavan says mindfulness, sunsets, and water are the best. Yeah, this is gonna sound silly. Maybe you laugh, but I don't fucking care. Stay hydrated. As a student in your 20s, you're gonna have an infinite reservoir of energy. You're gonna pull or want to pull all nighters, but go to bed at 1 a.m. the latest, then wake up when it's early. Stay hale. Don't get caught up online in like Ekşi Sözlük, Twitter, or other social media echo chambers. Like if you have a choice between sitting in your room and looking at the internet and then going around and having I don't know, a spaghetti carbonara with minced pork, go do the latter. It's always better to be outside, because remember, you're never going to be in Italy again. When you're a future version of you having to work a 9 to 5 job is looking back at your past now and regretting the extra time you did not spend just walking around the streets of Italy. Just enjoy it that way. Yeah, watch your sleep cycle. Get 8 hours of sleep. It's boring, but it's true. So these are my advice. Hang out with the locals, eat local food, learn Italian. Don't be the kind of student who spends most of his or her time online, but interact with real life people. If you're bored, go to the library of the school and see all. Italy has some great books. Italy has amazing public municipal libraries, by the way, and Italians have got like a very rich tradition of, well, publishing. You'll find lots of strange, crazy books. Yeah, if you're in northern Italy, you can take these little train or bus rides to many cities or towns around, probably Milan, where you'll be studying. So go there. I mean, around Milan. I lived in that same region. Let's pull up a fucking map. Actually, I'll show you where I lived. Wait. Just. Is it hard to get pork or bacon in Turkey because of religious stipulations, or does no one care? Well, because of religion, there's not much demand. Because there's not much demand, there's no tradition of cured charcuterie products. And because of that, it's just hard to get and expensive. Usually, if you'd be lucky to score like badly cured meat from a wild boar that hunters shot somewhere. By the way, if you hang around with Anatolian hunters, even the religious ones, they eat pork all the time. They just don't fucking care. They even eat bear meat. So that was strange to learn. Okay. So I'm going to switch on Google Earth. And together, we're going to look at northern Italy, okay? Just trying to boot it up. You know what? Fuck Google Earth. It's too complicated. Let's just look at Google Maps. Kuro Minami says, I thought eating the meat of a predator is harmful to the body. Didn't know people ate bears. They don't eat it like a staple, but when they shoot a bear, they do cook and eat the meat sometimes. Okay, just gonna share the map with you now. Let me know if it's crashing or blacking on you. Can you see the map? The only predator I've eaten is an alligator, says Jerry Caleb. I think mine too. Okay, you can see the map. You're in Milan. Bergamo, lovely city to go. Lovely city. Okay, Bergamo is wonderful. Where else did I go? In northern Italy. Trento, Vicenza, these are great. Treviso, I lived in Treviso actually here. It's literally one of the most beautiful countries on earth. Aosta, look, let's drop a pin there. Can you see the map? I mean, this is what northern Italy looks like. It looks very alpine, actually. I need confirmation that you can see the map. Okay, you can see it. Great. Places like this, I mean, this is somebody's house, of course. There's a village called Morgex. Lovely place. Probably I've never been there, but look, there's a little restaurant you could go. Casa Ture Merville. Look at the cities. They're very walkable. They're like Turkey, but clean and less crowded and more rooted and, let us say, with a more homogeneous population, but also older, many older people. You must take travels to these. You must take trips, take a bus, and visit these little villages in northern Italy. In the summer holidays, of course, depending on the budget available, really recommend doing this. It's gonna give you a whole new perspective. Look at the fruit stand. God damn. I mean, look, in Turkey, people eat good too. So I'm not gonna be really wistful about this. Alpifrutta.com. Let's look at the website. The website doesn't work, but okay. Means it's a good place. Let's see what where else. I mean, you can probably find let's see, bus from Milan, Morgex, Milan to Morgex, bus. Yes, you see that wonderful town we saw. You can see that, right? There are buses from Milan to that town, and it takes 3 hours. There's 8 buses every day. Try to do a lot of these in your free time, maybe in the weekends or public holidays. It's really going to give you a nice perspective in life. Um, Milan itself is a shitty city, actually. I'm sorry to say this. There's not. I mean, one warning. Okay, Milan has a gorgeous natural history museum. That's true. That's true. But as far as the rest of Italy goes, it's not as aesthetically or pleasing. It's a big urban sprawl, but there's lots of nice museums and bookshops. So I take it back. It's not a shitty city, but it's just not the best that Italy has to offer. Also, in Milan, you will encounter a lot of other Turkish people. A great number of these are going to be very vapid and shit people whose horizon only extends into that city. They have no understanding of the world beyond Milan, maybe Venice, maybe Roma, maybe Bologna. Okay, don't hang out with that lot. Especially avoid, like, I'm sorry to sexually generalize, but like the daughters of corrupt rich people who go to study fashion or art there, they're just as boring as a saline drip. Are the Turks in Milan similar to the Gastarbeiters in Germany? No, no, no. The Turks in Germany are very hardworking. They really live there. The Turks you will meet in Milan as a student are just spoiled, dumb, and usually rich people, and try to avoid them. Jacuzzi says, I live in an unwalkable city and it is like hell in here. I hope your situation improves. Should we go exploring northern Italy? Should we continue doing that, everybody? What should we do? The Gastarbeiter are very cool. Yes, Kuro Minami, my number one commenter. SPF Bama says, where do you live? I'm not going to dox myself. I live in a magical land. Okay, let's continue exploring northern Italy. Okay, can you see the map? Hans Blacker says he's Entebbe, Uganda. That's really funny. Just curious about your spending habits a bit, says MGO. When you buy things for the house, do you buy them? I don't buy that stuff. I don't buy like objects for my house. Many things I own are over a decade old. I don't buy furniture. I don't buy clothes. I'm very. I don't buy things because they're cute looking or like air fryers and robot vacuum cleaners. I don't even buy An air conditioning unit. I didn't even buy one. Just a waste of fucking money. I thought you live in the USA. I wish. But I don't. But thankfully, I am thankful that I have a roof over my head. Okay, let's continue exploring. I assume you can see the map. Okay, you can see it. Bolzano, great town. Now I'm gonna drop a pin there. Bolzano is like almost like a German city that's somehow got caught in Italy. This does not show much, but it looks like the Italians really know how to do apartments. Look at this. So nice. Very clean and ordered. But also still with some of that Roman or, well, Italian flair. This is a town square. I mean, it's a nice, cute city. The food here is amazing. You should also visit. Yeah, take all these little bus trips to these places. I mean, no, not here, not here. These like little this is a nice town, for example. Vernazza. Oh, in front of Panini right away. A lot of tourists. Okay, that's forgivable because it's a seaside town. But yeah, kebab spotted, hot dog hamburger. Okay, looks like we got a Turkish brother opening up shop in. Look at the views, the landscapes. God damn, this is beautiful. Blake Richardson says goodbye, have a nice night. Mutlu says hello there. Tukanol says, how did you get into Specova? Look, these are basic questions. I talked about how I got into Spekivo even in the beginning of the stream. So either rewatch it or go look into other videos in my channel. Okay. I'm also going to show you a bit of southern Italy. So you can judge the difference for yourself. This is Naples. So this is slightly more similar to Turkey, but more crowded and slightly more in disarray. Like some graffiti and shit. Yeah, at night the street may not be the best place. The thing with Italy is that the average population is very old. So things are generally more quiet and you have to live there in order to understand certain little subtleties of life and to be able to like work and eat and live like the Italians. It is shitty on south side, says Berat Gitar. They say that, but still there are, I mean, what are you comparing it to? Sicily, I know Sicily very well. I actually traveled all around it. The best place is the best little secret of Sicily. There's two of them. One is Schiaccia, which is on the seashore here. Yes, very romantic, very beautiful. city with botanical gardens from the 19th century. I mean, I literally walked in these streets, and this is the botanical garden behind this partition here. There's another fucking kebab place, but anyways, this is a really beautiful part of Sicily. Avoid Palermo and the big cities, but at night these streets are so romantic, so beautiful. And you can find houses for sale here if you can buy them and live there. I can't. I'm not a European. Such a beautiful place. And the average age in Italy is like 90s or something. People live long here. It's for good reason. Where else was it? Schiaccia. There's a seaside with there's fish restaurants here. You see this entrance? Oi, 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 molluschi e crostacei vivi, live mollusks and crustaceans, pesca fresco e surgelato, fresh and packaged fish. Isolafish.com. Imagine living here, going here, buying fish, cooking them up in your little apartment here, then sitting by the sunset and just cooking. I kid you not, I was on these steps. And there's a fish restaurant here called the Captain's Place. Yes. Schiaccia Terme. Oh, they do amazing food here. Black Hans, the only reason I go there is for Pompeii. If you're going, I've been there. I actually did not even take the time to visit Pompeii because I can read about that in a book. What I like, the value offering to someone like me in Italy, is actually going through these streets and living here. And now I will share with you the best secret of Sicily. Smack dab in the middle of the island, Polisi, what was it called? Polisi Generosa, I think. Just look it up. Polisi Generosa. Yes, I knew it. It's a city, it's a small town in a mountain on like a little escarpment. So when you're approaching the place, you come from the mountains. Let's go to Polisi. I drove all the way. I rented a car and I want you to see it's like a citadel on top of a big hill. Okay? And then you come up. It's just these quiet streets. Not a single tourist. Only grandmas and little shops. There's even a cinema in here somewhere. So like a fully functional 1960s style cinema in these narrow streets. And these pictures can't do it justice. You can't even enter to some streets with a car. But it's just so beautiful. I mean, look at these. And because it's on a hilltop, everything is like very well lit. The air is fresh and clean. Who the fuck are these guys? But look at the view. It's just beautiful. Look, time stopped there peacefully, said SF Bama. Yes. True, very true. Well, that's my... Let me see if I can find the cinema here. Oh, no, the nearest cinema. It's not there. There's a bed and breakfast. Da Sissi. Let's see what it looks like. Almost medieval looking architecture. It's probably not functional now, but I shit you not. Oh, here's a nice cafe. Or no. Yeah, there's one of those. So you climb up the hill. I'm literally backtracking my movement into the city to find the little theater, the cinema for you. They had a restaurant that specialized only on mushroom meals, like soups and broths and like done with local mushrooms, and it was an experience. I'm not much of a food guy, but it really was an experience. Here's the post office, here's the center of the town. Yeah, I think this was the theater or the culture center. Or maybe let's dive deeper inside. That's a civic hall, like a fully functional civic center. But it's in those, like, I like how narrow the streets are. And little shop. Look at the houses. I mean, sorry, like this devolved out of. Kuinami says, didn't know Italy was this beautiful until I watched your stream today. Bakara says, close quarters probably are not good. Actually, no. Look, some other cities, they're not as great. But this town, Polisi Generosa, you have to see it. I wanted to live there. There was another place. I mean, except I'm not a EU citizen or an American or a Brit. You guys don't know how lucky you are. You can like visit these places anytime you like. I don't want to tell you how many hoops we have to jump through. Here's a nice, I think, charcuterie or some sort of like a food place. As a Turkish citizen, you must subject yourself to an inhuman level of scrutiny, present hundreds of documents, also pay like an enormous, exorbitant amount of money just to be able to travel here. But of course, knowing some people in Turkey, I think it's also a necessary evil. Now look at these places. Wait. Okay, so that's that for Polisi Generosa. Was this the mushroom restaurant? Wait. Fuck, yeah, this is it. This is it, the Templars restaurant. Oh, yo. I'm just getting emotional just looking at it. What a nice moment. Then there was another city called Erice, which was off from Marsala, which is a really like Napoleon era grid of streets. This city is not much, to be honest. Just like a lot of heroin addicts and like A lot of interesting buildings, but yeah, there's not much going on in Marsala. They have historic salt flats, but off from Marsala, there's a city called Erice. Was it here? Wait. Yes. Sorry, off from Trapani. I'm very sorry. You go up. Trapani is the heroin addict place. Yeah, it look. I mean, just like this is the ugly, ugly side of Italy. Okay. In Sicily, the nice stuff is all up in the mountains. So from Trapani, you go up to Erice, which is named after Eryx, which was in mythology the name of a king and okay. I'm trying to remember. I hope I'm not boring you all. Jerry Caleb says, aren't you guys in the European Union in Turkey? Why can't you go to Europe? My brother in Christ, please let one of our Turkish viewers explain the situation cordially while I tell you about Erice. So Eryx was one of the names of one of the people turned to stone after he looked in the eyes of the Medusa. So Erice is a bit way off from Trapani. It has no heroin addicts, but it's one of the few places where you have these palm trees growing in a mountain. It's a medieval town, slightly touristicized. This was one of the hotels, I think. It's such a beautiful place. I'm going to find you one of the places with the view. Okay, so this is the side. Oh, so past these plants, you can look into the salt flats of Trapani. You can see the entire bottom half of the island. The cars all stop here, and you can see all the salt flats and the sea. And once again, Google Maps really doesn't do it justice. It's like a magical view. Berat Gitar says Turkish people cannot travel to Europe because of President Erdogan. I actually disagree with this. The visas to the EU were introduced way, way earlier during the time of Kenan Evren after the 1980 military coup. And it was introduced to avoid leftist and terrorists, separatist terrorists, escaping into Europe. And from there on, it took a life of its own. I don't think Erdogan caused this thing. In fact, he tried to get free visa-free travel for Turkish citizens, but the Europeans did not let him. And he found it more convenient just to take their money to keep all the Middle Eastern refugees bottled in. But that's the most I'll say about this subject. You can even see across the sea. This. So the thing with Erice is that this town, out of all places, has this Institute of Nuclear Physics, okay? This is incredible. Ettore Marjone Foundation for Scientific Culture. So, in the middle of this mountain town, you had these institutions who were established during the Cold War. And this is the building, okay? This is one of the buildings. And their area of study is like nuclear war or the prevention of global nuclear conflict. And some of their stuff has bled over to the, so like the books in these institutes, they were like sold off or carried away. So you go to a hotel, and in the lobby there's a big book in Italian about nuclear war. So it was wild. Ettore Marjone Foundation, the International School of Subnuclear Physics and Planetary Emergencies. So in this town with all these palm leaves, it looks like this, just to remind you. In this town like this, you can go and study all the ways the world could be destroyed. And that was just wonderful. And then in the evening, have some wonderful pasta carbonara and watch the salt flats, hopefully with your loved one or significant other. Berat says, I'm going to travel Italy so bad. Look, go to those mountain towns in northern Italy, Mordax or whatever that was called. And also in Sicily, visit all these places, Erice. Just as a rule of thumb, we can even play this as a game right now with you. Apple of Adam and Eve says, hello. Hello, Apple of Adam and Eve. You can tell from the map where you can find an interesting town. Okay. We start at Milan. Milan is a big, huge city. Drop a man here. Okay, it's a big city. I mean, not terrible, not great. Let's go up. So places like this with a lot of grids, with a grid of streets, obviously they're going to be bleak residential neighbors. Okay, what's this? A shop. Arredo Bagno Chiesi. A bath for fancy bathroom fixtures and shit. Okay, you get out of the big city. I'm just going to zoom out now, but not too much. You see, for example, you can tell from the map where a place could be interesting. You see this lake. Okay, you follow the edges, and you see there's this like zigzag road. Zigzag means a hill and a small town called Nesso. I predict this town is going to be amazing. Let's see. Boom. Yeah, I wasn't wrong. These are some cemeteries, though. Boom. Okay, I say neat town, you see? Of course, this is low-hanging fruit because it's next to Lake Como, I think. So, okay, ignore Lake Como, okay? Because I think everything here is just going to be beautiful. Olgiasca. See, you shouldn't be afraid to travel alone, by the way. That's also a top tip. So you go up the mountains. For example, here, you see there's a junction, and it's in like the elbow of a road going up the mountain. I see a museum here. So I think this place is going to be fucking incredible. And yeah, not wrong. Something like a Studio Ghibli type mountain town. So you can probably tell from Chiesa in Val Malenco, and there's a restaurant called Osteria 99. This is actually, I think, a fancy town, maybe even a resort. Let's actually go to like Torino and environs. This place looks interesting. Far from the main cities, but also, so for example, there's this town between two roads. I feel because it's in the intersection of two roads, it could be a rich place. Let's see. There's even a square. You see? You see? Didn't I fucking tell you? This is actually one of the rare Protestant towns in northern Italy, which is incredibly rare. Have these Austrian type churches. G maps, abs, goon, and fly. I don't know. Apple of Adam and Eve. Please do not spam the chat. Psychocuedro says, I'm doing an aesthetic essay about you and other speculative artists. Thank you. Berat Guitar explains the situation. He's on Google Earth because I told him I was going to study in Italy and he's showing me around. Goon and fly. Look, please keep it civil on the comments. Okay? I don't want to ban anybody. So you can study the map. Sit here, have snacks. Look how the nice little town square is. You can usually tell from the maps where you can find an interesting place. And that's the way I traveled Italy, and that's the way I discovered Polisi Generoso and all those other nice places. San Candido. This is a fancy place. And you're going to come back to Turkey anyway, so avoid big cities. In Italy, there's this little trick also. There's this little extension of Italy that goes into Slovenia, and it gets the city of Trieste is connected to Italy, but it's right next to Slovenia, and there's a really strange, almost Yugoslav type vibe to Trieste. It's a old city, but I remember here. Oh yeah. There's an amazing beach here. Well, not here. Wait. I used to go to this beach, so the Miramare Castle. Yeah. Grignano Miramare, the Miramare Castle and the beach. I'm getting sleepy. I'm gonna show you the Miramare Castle, and then the sea is wonderful. You see, it is wonderful. Beach Sirena. There's a portion of the shore here where you can just park your car and swim. So that is that. Saulo A says, last time I was on Google Maps, I ended up using it for 5 hours and catalog every place I've been since my childhood. Yes, I did that too. Do you have any photos from your Italian trip on your website? Well, in my website, there's a photos tab. You can just go there, and I won't explain it. There's too many photos, too many. I normally never share stuff about my travels and my personal life online, though. Adon Naim says, damn, I always show up late to your streams. 2 hours and counting. 31 people watching. This was great, guys, but I'm a bit tired now. Any last questions or wishes before we call it a night? Adonayim says, is this Sarıkız? No, it's Kızılay. Look at hearts. People are sending me hearts. I love this drink during my time in Turkey. Yeah, the soda and mineral water is really nice. My goofy custom has been vindicated. No, I have a big map of everywhere I stayed in. But of course, it's a private map. This brand is in the Turkish political boycott list. I know. Color me guilty. What can I do? Alex Garland is working on an Elden Ring film. Would you watch it? I don't even know what Elden Ring is. Would you believe it's a video game? Critically acclaimed fantasy action RPG. Looks impressive. You ride a horse, stab a man, or get some swords, some giant knight dudes and shit, some demons and wolves, and a guy with a helmet. You can't see his eyes. I think he's cool. Wait, let's look at some creatures. It's got some wicked creatures. Okay, I remember that. It's a commendable game. The creature designs are great, but I don't mean to diss games, but I personally don't have time to play, like invest multiple hours into games like Elden Ring. If you liked it, you should look at Ultra Kill 2. What games have you played lately, says Kuro Minami. Well, I only play one game recently. One game. I told you I was going to fucking go to bed, but you now made me go and do it. I need to share this game with you because I only play Primordial Life. It is an acquired taste. I wonder if you can even see it. I'm going to share it. Wait. Can you see the game? Can you see the screen now? Okay, so this is a game, yes. It is the best fucking evolution simulator on damn planet, okay? So first, you press, this is a world, you press play. Oh, look at these shits. Can you see them moving? These are creatures, right? They're growing and moving. They're like, they got genes and everything. So in order to like explain the game to you, first I'm going to kill them all because I want you to understand how these creatures' genes operate. Forgive me, but they are dying. Okay. Holy shit, says somebody. No, no, no. This is like the only game I know where evolution works physically and not as a list of stats. Okay, so we're gonna now create a creature randomly. This is our creature. We're gonna pose it. We're gonna click on our creature. We're gonna examine the genes. You see, there are lots of genes around. In order to, this thing has a lot of genes, by the way. So, in order to explain to you how the game works, I'm just gonna make it simple. You can't see the genes. Fuck. What are we gonna do, man? Okay, so I'm gonna create a creature genome with green sticks. Okay, you can choose the colors of the sticks. They look like, well, I can't show it to you. Sticks with, give me a number between 1 and 8. Give me a number between 1 and 8. 6. Okay, I'm gonna make it a symmetry of 6 with mirroring. So copy to clipboard. So I'm pasting, look, this is the genes we made. Okay, it's just, that was a, forget that thing now. So these are, you see, our creatures, and they're reproducing. As we see, as we play, they are reproducing. The green sticks make photosynthesis, but now we have a mutant here. And by the way, I'm going to increase carbon dioxide so we make sure that these plants reproduce faster. Okay, so it's like a garden now. Green sticks help them photosynthesize. But if I was to edit the genes of this thing and make some of the genes into cyan, cyan makes them into propulsion sticks. So there's a version with cyan. Now you see the propulsion sticks help it move. I'm going to go to the world parameters, go to the friction coefficient and turn it into 0.3 so these things can move faster. Now, see, these are like moving. Because they are trilaterally symmetric, they're not really going anywhere. But if I was to change its genes and make it into 2 layers symmetry, whoop, it's like a wing now. Poop, poop, and let's go to the friction coefficient. Look at this fucker move. Look at him go. Let's give him some more carbon dioxide. You see some plants are evolving spikes now. The red means they can hurt and feed on other creatures. But now I'm going to show you something. I've run this game for weeks and days, and I've created creatures that are insanely deadly. So I'm going to import one now, and we're going to see what it does to this environment. So there's one thing called a flick knife breeder. Okay. Oop, wait. Wow. Can't load. Don't do this to me. Come on. Okay, let's see. There's the flick knife. Look at him go. Look at, oh, he died. But no, not before he reproduced. You see, they're spreading. They have these cyan sticks that help them move, and these red mouth parts that help them eat the other things, and they got like a very fast reproductive coefficient. Look at them go. I live and die for this. Elden Ring, get the fuck out of here. This is the game. The game. This is the best game. They're eating all the plants, reproducing. And now the plants are adapting too. Look, this one has some like mobile, like blue shield genes. But yeah, these are very, very effective. Now, these are as trying to escape by evolving propulsion, but they can't survive either. Look at them go. This game, this is a game. This is a, and you can see adaptation. So you see, this plant survived because it's got spikes. So let's help him rejuvenate, copy, paste, paste, paste. You see, we also have other mutants, like this thing here has a different genetic makeup from this thing. You look at the little box in the corner, or this guy. Oops. You see, the genes of this guy are different from this guy. It's a slight difference. So it's like a same species. But if you go to the other end of the map, by the time they reach there, the creatures are actually very different. So there. Or this thing is a much different. So you actually see species formation. In this game, will all animals with the same genes also have the same phenotype? Yes, genes are the phenotype. The genes are the phenotype. I will now let them run a bit more. You can watch them. Parameters. I changed the friction coefficient to 3 now. So now they're slower, so they can't fly as fast. But look, there's a new species here, which is different from the others, which is different from these guys. I'm going to stop sharing this screen now, but I will show you the gene editor so that you can understand how the game works. It's actually so simple. That's the genius of it. So this is the gene editor for one of the creatures, okay? It's very simple. You only have lengths of sticks and rotation, so the angles. And then the symmetry or the mirroring and the energy it takes to reproduce and everything. So what you see is what you get. This is not an avatar. Like, the genes are the thing you see on the map itself. And it's just wonderful. The colors are not nucleotide bases. No. Cyan is a moving stick. It helps it move. Green helps photosynthesis, so it gives it energy. Red, if the red stick touches another creature, it eats it. White helps it inject its genes into another creature. So it's a winning formula. These guys fly around, and so it's got a little white thing at the end, so it's like a penis. How did you discover it? Says Apple of Adam and Eve. I discovered it probably before you were born. In 1994, this game came out. And I've been playing it ever since. It used to be called Artificial Life, but a new version, it's called Biogenesis. Let me find you the... Okay, so I'm going to paste the source website in the video chat. And well, this is also the website, so let me share that with you too. So it's a Java game, very small. There's several versions of it. The original one is the more primitive one. There are some, like, there's a gallery of top organisms, and you can download the genetic code. And there's this one, Lengua mortifera. It spins and eats other creatures. Curious evolution path. Continuously spinning and hitting it. A funny predator. There's got a whole community to this thing. Can I play this on a phone? No, you need a computer. Screen turned black. Come on. Does it work now? Well, just go to the website I shared you. Okay, you can see it now. Organisms of the month. And you can... There's a user manual. There's a web demonstration. This game is like... I mean... It is real evolution in a digital simulated sphere. It's not like Spore. Because Spore is, at the end of the day, it's interesting, but it's like a visual skin job. But here, the genetics literally turn into the physics, and they literally affect the evolution of the creatures. You don't have species, you just have things, and you see them separating into populations. Wonderful game. So you compare this with Elden Ring, and it's a funny light show. This is a real game. This is the game. Thanks for the demonstration, says Kurominami. Okay, that being said, I hope you enjoyed biogenesis and everything. I'm sleepy, but this was a great stream with you guys. 36 people have endured my madness, so thank you for your time. If you're watching this on the replay, please consider donating on Patreon and maybe going to my merch store. If you look at that kind of stuff, please look at Thrive. Yes, I will look at it too. Saurian is a real game. Okay. Is it possible for a creature to live and not evolve? Yes, but it will die. All right, this was great, everybody. Well, thank you all for your time, and I will talk to you later. Patreon, Patreon, Patreon. If you're a $1 subscriber, make it a $2, please. I'm running my mouth off for you here. And that being said, this has been CM Kozeman. Good night. Boom!